Now, it is usual that a commencement speaker be a sort of elder statesman of our profession, a person who has over the years exhibited continuous excellence in their work and has achieved a certain level of success. Well, in true dramatic arts fashion, we are not going to do what is usual. Indeed, it is my very great pleasure to introduce today's commencement speaker, Troian Bellisario, from the School of Dramatic Arts class of 2009 to you, the class of 2014. Troian, who although she is not yet an elder statesman, has continuously exhibited excellence in her work and is enjoying now a certain level of success. Troian herself was on the stage just 5 years ago with the same excitement and fear that I think you probably have. While at USC, she performed with the Casitas Group, a theater company of which she is the founding member, appearing in an exclusive engagement of Martin McDonagh's The Pillow Man, as well as a Sam Shepard double feature, Fool for Love and True West. She also performed in school productions of The Crucible, All's Well That Ends Well, Red Light Winter, Complete Fail Stage Beauty, and Cloud 9. And for several summers, she and her friend Peter Brown traveled the New York subways, doing an edited version of the balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet between subway stops. Then they would quickly pass the hat and get off the train before the transit police caught up with them. What I considered a truly brave and inspired independent production. After graduation, Troian wrote, produced, and starred in the short film Exiles, and also starred in the title role of Lauren in one of the WIGS web series focused on sexual assault in the military. She was also seen in the independent film Consent, and on stage, she appeared in Equivocation at the Geffen Playhouse in Los Angeles. Troian was born, raised, and still lives in Los Angeles, where she is currently shooting the 5th season of Pretty Little Liars. Please welcome a fellow Trojan, Troian Bellisario.
Oh, wow. I promised Reed I wouldn't throw up. I can't fulfill that. Okay. I'd like to begin by thanking the faculty, the staff, the parents, step-parents, grandparents, weird neighbors who have nothing better to do on a Friday, and friends who have all gathered here today to celebrate the soon-to-be alumni before us. You guys have helped them prepare long and boring monologues. You have endured the same 3 minutes of music loudly played over and over as they choreograph combinations. And you have forked over lots of hard-earned cash, and in the case of these teachers, day after day of your lives, in the name of their art. You guys are rock stars. This day is a celebration of you as well. So now for you guys. The USC School of Dramatic Arts class of 2014. Hi. For you guys who don't know me, as you said, my name is Troian Bellisario. I'm the very proud graduate of this school. And for those of you who might know me from my work on Pretty Little Liars, you're probably wondering what an anachronistically mature 17-year-old from a fantastical series mostly about hair, fashion, and cyberbullying has to tell you guys about life after graduation. Because I'm still playing a high schooler. You guys, okay, this brings me to my first lesson that I would like to impart to you today. Don't try to understand the logic of casting. Just don't do it, right? It'll leave you cold and shaking in the dark of your apartment, wondering why your life story is being played by somebody who's both 8 years older and younger than you, who's also incidentally the opposite sex. So, cool, now that we can talk about that. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm kind of freaking out right now. Like, I remember sitting in that chair, staring up here, being equally excited and terrified to start my life, hungry to start my career, hungry for the brunch that my parents had promised me after this ceremony. That felt like yesterday. So when Dean Puzo called me 2 weeks ago to invite me here to speak to you, I mean, of course I said yes, but just being 5 years outside of this school, I wondered what wisdom I possibly have to impart to you. She said it would be an honor to have me speak, but in truth, I am the one who is honored and blessed today. Because putting into words my gratitude for my education here, my experience of my postgraduate life, it actually pulled me out of a great darkness. So that's my little Chekhovian gun for later. I'll talk about that. I recognize that not all of you today graduating are actors. Not all of you who have been actors are actors, or are going to be actors. You guys are actors right now. But you might find other things that you want to do. But you are all sitting in this room because you are storytellers. Whether it is through the blue and purple lights that you designed to make us believe that a full moon is shining on a black box stage, or that sequence of fluid movements to transition between scenes that make a piece of theater breathe as though it were a living thing, even if only for one night, or that combination of movement that makes dancing across a stage seem like you're dancing across air. Studying at this school has given you the time, space, and permission to learn how you want to tell a story. So please pardon me if I just say actor because I mean creator. And when I say artist, I mean alive and awake human being. So I feel pretty confident about one thing up here, which is that I know what's on the mind of most everybody in this room, other than fantasizing about brunch. Right? It's what's next. Graduates are wondering how and when they will begin their career. Parents are wondering how the people they love the most in this world are going to survive. And my God, I can only imagine the pain, joy, fear, and hope the parent of an artist must experience. Today, you guys, please take the time to thank the people who have supported you in the choice to study, who have carried your dreams as if they were your own for more than just these 4 years. This is a frightening and exciting time for them, too. So while I have you guys in the same room, let's talk about it, right? When I graduated from this school, as you heard, I was insanely and incredibly lucky. Within a few months, I started getting jobs, the kind where they paid me to act. Concerned parents, it actually does happen. Directly from a play at the Geffen Theater, I landed my first pilot audition for a show that I am still on. That's luck. Thanks, but it's luck. It's the mixture of timing and whatever talent this school allowed me to foster. But most of all, it is the beautifully fickle child that I birthed here under the care of these teachers. These teachers right behind me that I keep on having to crane around to see. And that child that they helped me birth is confidence, not in myself, but in my identity as an artist, in my ability as a storyteller. Timing is not some secret that I can impart to you today, or how to make some casting director randomly decide that it's you. How I wish I could tell you those secrets. I wish that those secrets existed, but they don't. What I can tell you is that you are walking into this world with a great gift. You chose to take 4 years out of your life to grow something in your body, mind, and spirit. And many people in this business skip these years. And the people who have skipped these years will sometimes appear to be ahead of you. But in the face of deals, pitches, finding and keeping representation, casting calls, scarcity of money, abasement of morals, and the part-time jobs that are just cool enough to let you make that audition in Santa Monica, because they're always in Santa Monica at 4:30 p.m., so just be prepared. Yeah, ugh. You have chosen to nourish within yourself a very delicate and precious commodity, and that is the soul of an artist. It is what you were born with. The drive, the passion to tell the story of another human being's experience. So if you guys were born with this, why did you come and study? Right? Most people just go straight to work. Why weren't you one of them? I'll tell you why. Because in 3 or the 4 years that you've spent here, you've sat with this part of yourself and you've listened. You have asked it odd and frightening questions. You have watched as it cried all night, only suddenly at sunrise to laugh. You've seen it tear apart a room, break its bones, mend, mature, and fly. And I'm not saying that you're better than somebody else who hasn't studied, but while all of the people that you will meet in this industry have the soul of an artist, and you have to remember that they do, otherwise they wouldn't be doing this insane thing, I found that most of them keep their artist spirit in swaddling cloth. They let it cry out to be picked up. They blame others for mistreating it, and they wonder why it constantly feels lost. But that is not you. You have cared for your artistry in such a way that it will take care of you in return. And when you walk across this stage and out of this room, never lose sight of what you've built. Because sometimes, and though I have been lucky, I can vouch for this, your artist soul is all that you've got to hold on to. I've noticed that there's a lot of embarrassment as an actor, right? It's like way less cool than joining the circus and a lot more common. It's scary to say what we do and that we want to do it, right? It's rejection, it's heartbreak. And after I graduated, even when I was working, if anybody asked me what I did, I would just be like, I'm an actor? And sort of hope that we moved on to the next part of the conversation, because you know that they're looking at you being like, really, at what restaurant? So why is there so much fear to say what we do? To say who we are? I mean, do we think it's desperate? Because it can be. If we focus on the way that we look, if you begin to convince yourself that you are not blonde enough, or tall enough, or not enough people like you on Twitter. You guys have no experience of this. I do, and you will. Welcome to the biz. But in moments like this, if you feel nervous or you feel embarrassed to say what you do or to ask people to hire you to do it, please remember what you came from. Before this school, before you were born, since ancient Greece, probably since some caveman's fire, we have stood before our fellow man and we have shown them what it means to be human. Faults, frightening desires, naked pain, jubilant joy, grief, death, birth. We hold up the mirror so that others may learn some rhyme or reason to our bizarre existence on this lonely planet. Like, why did we get opposable thumbs? Why does my brain process things like shame and envy? Will Godot ever get here? We ease the pain of human experience, we give it context, and we do this by embodying it fiercely and unapologetically. So there is no shame or embarrassment in telling the story of another human being, because in it we tell the story of us. I'm gonna go get like academic on you guys for a second, hold on. The word humiliation and humility both come from the same Latin root of humus, which means earth or ground. The difference between humiliation and humility is only who is doing the action. Right? Humiliation is being brought back down to the earth by an outside force, while humility is lowering yourself. If you serve a story, you will always be humble. How can you not? Because it is greater than you. Please love the act of keeping yourself close to the ground. All right, you guys, why am I talking so much about this? I'm sorry. After speed watching a lot of commencement speeches in the past 2 weeks, I found that most of them are about failure. Right? Also wearing sunscreen, but mostly failure. How much of it you will experience, how important it is to your growth. And if you were like me as a student, you know a lot about this subject, right? Because this place is a laboratory where anything was possible. It was a home free from judgment, from results. And under the guidance of these amazing teachers, I failed, like hard. Jack Rowe made me do Lady Macbeth at 19, and I sucked. Thank you. For 4 years in these rooms, in PED, in MCC, in the Scene Doc Theater, on this very stage, it was your job to fail, to mix the wrong chemicals, to blow up, to reinvent yourself, to start all over again with new, insanely beautiful, equally insane, sorry I just said that, and wrong ideas. But what about failing after today? What about not getting the job, or being told you're wrong for the part? And what do I don't know about that, right? I who have been lucky, I who've been allowed to come speak to you today because I'm successful enough of an alumni to have this opportunity. Well, just between you, incredibly large audience, and me, when the dean called me on the set of my job to invite me here today, I was crying. Did this just get awkward? I'd been crying because I had failed. I had this audition, and I don't get many because of my schedule, and I thought that I'd allowed myself to go into the room and be free. I made my own choices, I touched upon my own life, and so I thought that I was being raw and honest, and I was proud of my work. And I got a call from my managers saying that while my audition was good, it was like a little sticky and aggressive, and it wasn't what they were looking for. Now, this is part of being an actor. Making a choice that they don't like, being too over the top or too subtle. That comes with the territory. But what was a heartbreak for me was because after 5 years of mostly doing one thing and really wanting and imagining that I would do so much more, I actually fear daily that I've lost my ability to do anything else. Yeah, it got real. To be as free as I was here, to be as versatile as I was here. And so when they told me that I wasn't what they wanted, I heard that I was right to have that fear, that I had lost my artist soul. And my only choice was to continue doing that one thing, which at the moment I really couldn't bear to do that anymore. I couldn't see the point or the passion. So I sat on the Warner Brothers lot where I work, and I totally wept because I failed. Because I still have so much to prove. Because after 5 years of leaving this room, I often feel like I am further from the work that I want to be doing than when I was sitting in that chair. Another helpful hint, you guys? Cry. Cry to the end of your tears and from the bottom of your stomach, because it helps almost as much as dancing. It's true. So once I reached the end of my tears, still not knowing how I would resurrect myself from this feeling of failure, or how I could go back to work or face a room full of hopeful artists in just a few days' time, I dried my eyes and I went onto the set of my show, and I did the one thing that I know how to do as an artist trained here. I served the story. I let that feeling of failure fuel me to create. Because I felt so low, so close to the earth, that all I could think of was the story and how nothing that I felt in that moment mattered in the face of it. And you know what? I felt more connected to my work than I have in months. I felt free again. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to being here today and what this place left inside of me. Failure is relative. And the majority of actors, including some of my best friends, are still struggling day after day just to be seen. But no matter how big or small, and it always feels big no matter how small your failure is, it doesn't matter what you fail at. All that matters is what you do with yourself afterwards. After 4 years, you are the epitome of humus. You are a beautiful foundation on which you can now build your career and your life. And now you believe you will step out into a world where you have to start from scratch, right? Where you can't fail because that means not getting the job or getting fired or looking bad. And I'm here to tell you that that is not true, because you cannot start from scratch when you walk out of this room, because you are walking out of this room with those 3 or 4 years in your back pocket. And when you fail in this town, it is what people will love about you. And if you get fired, I promise it is just the world moving things around to make way for a better opportunity. Because after crying on that hot studio lot and getting reconnected to my work and suddenly knowing just what small amount of wisdom I had to impart to you, I got an email that I was being called back in for a director's session. Don't understand the logic of casting. It doesn't make sense. View failures as an opportunity. If what you tried on Monday doesn't work, try something new on Wednesday. I know, because I'm still doing it. This is almost done. The final song that I want to sing for you today is of the people sitting on either side of you. So please take a look to your left and your right. Oh, I missed that about theater school. You guys actually do it when I say it. Most people are just like, yeah, I get what you're saying. I know where you're going with this. You guys do it. We might not make friends based on alphabetical order, but those people you just said hi to, think about the people that you spent the 4 years with, right? When I was at school, my best memories, my most valuable lessons were in the work my friends and I chose to do on our own. Because as Jack would say, we were just too stupid to know any better. In creating our own work, in taking what little spare time and energy we had after we had classes to collaborate and build sets when we knew nothing about them and act under lights that we rigged ourselves, we created the drive and power to make our own way. And that is, in an industry where you have so little control, a saving grace. Creating your own work dries up the tears about not doing enough and not being enough, about that agent who won't return your call, or that audition you know you rocked but you got bad feedback, because you can't really worry about that stuff when you gotta get home to work on the 3rd draft of your play. Or you gotta make it across town to your friend's garage where you're doing a tech run of Macbeth, because even though you sucked at 19, you might understand a few more lines at 28. The most fulfilling work, the most delicious and heart-exploding times that I've had since college were not the paid gigs. You guys, they are so rarely the paid gigs. What I will tell my children about, what I will call my life and work, is that which I have made with the friends that I made here. And that's only after 5 years. So just imagine what else we can do. Imagine what we will do when you guys join us. Make your own work. Start now. Because once you start creating without anybody's permission, you own it. And because you learned it here, you know the power of a story. You will never feel embarrassed when people say, "What do you do?" Because you will look them in the eye and you will say, "I tell stories." And people will line up to work with you. Please take these 4 sacred years and wrap them around you like these polyester cloaks. Look to your left and your right. Take these artists. They are your brothers and your sisters in the next chapter of your strange and exciting life. And when you lose your way in the fog, or your heart light dims because you're unsure or afraid, they have seen you shine here, and they will remind you of your wattage. They saw you suck at Shakespeare, and then they saw you soar. Stay close to the earth. Remember what you have chosen to do and the time you have taken to prepare for it. Embrace failure and fear as if they were your oldest and best friends, and dance. Don't walk into this new beginning. I'm so proud of you all. I'm so honored to share this day with you. And above all, I cannot wait to meet you on the other side of those doors and find out what new and beautiful things we're going to make together. Thank you.
Thank you, Troian. Now,